Hi, in this video, I wanted to explain what I actually believe and why. I think it's important for you guys to get a good idea of what my foundational beliefs are so you can understand kind of where I'm coming from. It's very simple with me also. I can really boil it down into just two key aspects. The first being a belief in free expression, and the second being a stance against defeatism, so anti-defeatism. And in this video, I'm going to specifically explain what I mean by those 2 points and also why I believe in those. First, free expression. I think it often gets talked about in a kind of trite way. It's really like more of a platitude, the idea that, no matter how much I disagree with what you have to say, I'll fight to the death for your right to say it, or something to that effect. That's all well and good, but it doesn't really get at the heart of the matter, like why I think it's so important for people to be able to say what they actually think. And I'll even go a step further, people to be able to say what they think with their real name and their face attached to it. Why I think that's important is because when you learn what people actually think, especially specific people, so with me, my name is Samson Hall, 25-year-old Maltese Australian. When you learn that about me, or just in general, at least see my face and see who is saying something, you get a bit closer to understanding what certain types of people actually believe and why. I think it's very important. I think as humans, we spend a lot of our time trying to get to the bottom, any kind of actual fact of the matter, as much as there is one, about the reality of things. And I think that's only possible. You can only even get close to that if you actually know who is saying what. And so when I come on here with my real name, real face, whatever, you get to learn more about what 25-year-old white males think, or I don't know, half Maltese if I don't know if I'm kicked out of the club or whatever, but like I guess I identify as white, so to speak. Um, but I think that no matter what, you get to learn so much more when you know who is saying what. And I think it's very important. It would be so much less so if I was just another anonymous poster online. Yes, there's value in whistleblowers, in people, using the veil of anonymity in order to express certain, things that can only be put out that way. But in a perfect world, the idea of doxing, it just wouldn't be a thing. It would not be that people even feel threatened by using their real name and face in order to express even, quote unquote, dangerous ideas. It's just how I see things. I think that's the only way you can get closer to the actual truth is if people feel like they're able to actually say what they think. And then you learn so much more about people and you can actually get to the bottom of some of these ideas when people say what they actually think about them. Second, defeatism and why I'm so anti-defeatism. The first thing I think to attack this, what I'll say is, like I'm sure all of you watching and pretty much everyone, I've had bad things happen to me. It's so foundational, almost religious. It's like a temperamental thing with me, why I stand against this. It's like my mind, even when bad things happen, never goes in the direction of self-destruction, of suicide, of self-harm, and physical self-destruction. It's just not the way that I'm wired. I've never really understood it. It's always like the way I look at it is that life is such a gift, and when bad things happen or things don't go to plan, it's like, yeah, it sucks that things have gotten in the way of me utilizing this gift or experiencing it to the best of my ability. But I never go in the direction of wanting to burn it all down. It's just, destructive. It's not how I see things, and I don't think it's what should be promoted. I was recently talking about Anthony Bourdain. I see him as like a perfect example of it. He's like kind of the sacred cow of defeatism. People defend him to the hilt because of what he actually symbolizes. This is a guy who materially had it all. He had a family, he had a daughter, he had a job that pretty much anyone would want, being able to travel the world and, host food shows, and he still decided to take his own life. And I see a lot of people feel really, I think they're projecting their ideas themselves about themselves having materially doing very well, but still feeling like shit mentally. People feel the need to protect him because he is a symbol of defeatism. That's what they're really protecting is the idea of no matter what, it is an acceptable course of action to take your own life, or even if it's not suicide, to self-destruct in other ways. And it's just not something I agree with. I don't think it's helpful in and what a person is really doing when they, for example, commit suicide, is they're really saying the message that's being sent out to the world is that if you are in my position, it's a logical course of action for you to take your own life. And people even defend that idea. one of my, I guess, biggest nemesis, the people I really can't stand on YouTube, is Dr. K. I've seen him really defend exactly that in not so many words, but the idea that even people who aren't clinically depressed sometimes make the logical decision to kill themselves.
Most of the suicidal men that I work with, their mind isn't malfunctioning. They genuinely have a life that is no longer worth living. They're looking at things and objectively realizing that there's no way out of this situation. So they turn to suicide.
It's something I've seen him defend. It was on like the Diary of a CEO podcast or whatever. And temperamentally, that's just not something that it's just so not me. That's the if you want to know what is the antithesis to Samson Hall, that would be that attitude. Um, as I said, I see life as such a gift, even when terrible things happen. So that's just something that I stand against and rally against. Um, but yeah, if you wanted to boil down my kind of core beliefs into two ideas, that would be it would be a belief in free expression, a person's ability to say what they actually think without the fear of like violent repercussions, state repercussion, jail, whatever, all of that, um, and a stance against defeatism.